Welcome, luminous souls, to another episode of Sharing Awakenings. I'm Kristen Harper, your host, and we're infinitely grateful that you're here.
Activating healing energies and raising the collective consciousness through sharing your stories of spiritual awakening.
My guest today shares his incredible story of overcoming anxiety, depression, and addiction, which nearly cost his life.
But when I was at the lows, I heard it. I heard it. It was telling me not to give up. This is not my time.
Until the moment he had a spiritual awakening and began to look inside.
Seeing who I truly am as a cosmic being, a spiritual being, having a human experience, knowing that this body is a gift to navigate this world and use our five senses, but it's not who we are. Who we are is light.
Please welcome Hoot Maynard, spiritual healer, pioneer of the possible, and co-creator of this series, Sharing Awakenings. Welcome, Hoot. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you.
We're so glad you're here.
Great to be here.
And we can't wait to hear your story. So you have such an incredible background that I'm sure so many of us would love to hear about, being a U.S. ski jumper for so many years and being in the film industry for 25 years. Can you tell us what was your, what led up to your moment of your spiritual awakening and healing? Kind of tell us a little bit about your story and how you landed in this, beautiful awakening.
Yeah, well, I was fortunate enough to grow up in a ski town and loved skiing. Ski jumping became my thing, flying through the air. So I just fell in love with it, and that was my first career. I was on the U.S. ski team, traveled the world, got to see all the world. It's such a beautiful gift in itself. And bringing back to a bit of the spiritual part of it was, which I wasn't aware of at the time, and I totally see it now. It was like, I was very in tune with Source. I just wasn't aware of it at the time. Like, it was a matter of pushing through my fears every day, and because you're going 60 miles an hour and you jump headfirst into the air. There's a lot of trust in yourself and a lot of trust in the universe that is to lift you and blanket you and fly through the air and touch down on the ground safely, hopefully. And then I even noticed, like, when I crashed, that there was always something there. Like, I would relax into the crash, but there was always a presence. I didn't realize it till now, looking back. Like, it was just an awareness. I wasn't aware of it back then, and now I can totally see it. Yeah. And then from there, I retired in '94. So I retired in '94 and got in the film industry, and I was in the film industry for 25 years and started off amazing, and then I got sucked into the money making aspect of it.
Yeah. So share with us a little bit about your career. What was it like for you living in the corporate world? Did that spark anything in you to begin your spiritual journey? Living
in the corporate world, I got caught up in that exterior world, all those trappings, mainly because I had a deep-seated sadness within me. Like, if I showed up at work and going all around work, like, no one would be able to tell I was a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. But there's a lot of deep-seated misery and unhappiness inside, and I thought that just making more money and more money would satiate that, would bring me happiness.
And what happened when you made more money?
I wanted more. I wanted to make more money and more money, and then I would work harder on more shows at once. There was a time when I was working up 6 shows at once, and I didn't care because I was making even more money. What
was your income level like at that time?
I'd say for about 10 years I was making well into the 6 figures for 10 solid years, as a producer in post-production. So and I just wanted more. Some more shows came, I took them on, and more stress and more craziness, more staff, more everything. And
how many
my
hours a
life
week
was
were you
work.
working at that point? How many hours a week were you working, would you say?
I think it'd be easier to estimate how many I wasn't working.
Yeah, right?
Which is probably like 10 hours in a whole week, probably like maybe the 5-hour window on Saturday and 5-hour window on Sunday if I'm lucky.
Yeah. So how did you keep yourself going then? If you're not working, you know, or you're working 90 hours a week or 100 hours a week, that's not humanly possible, you know. So what did you have to do to kind of maintain that, you know, smiling face every day that when you went to work, and, you know, showing up for everybody and being there when they needed you to be there, you know? And how did you handle that?
Distractions of drinking and drugs. You know, I dealt with anxiety and depression for probably almost 3 decades. So yeah, it was when I was around 20 when I first started having my first, you know, bout with depression, anxiety, and doing therapy and all that stuff.
So would you say that the medications that you were taking at the time, and alcohol and opiates or anything, you know, can you talk a little bit about, you know, how you got into all of that and how that carried you at the time?
Yeah. It started out like, I guess with any addictions, it started out just small, you know, little.
Gradual.
And then gradually built. So it was near the end where everything was just crazy. But yeah, I think it was a way that I sustained myself. Or so I thought, you know, because I also had ADHD, so I was taking the Adderall.
Oh, yeah.
I was taking Adderall. I also had Xanax for anxiety, because I'd have panic attacks daily. I also was taking, like, the last one, I took every antidepressant under the sun, felt like, and it always made me feel, my brain feel like it was shaking around in my head. But, you know, I wasn't happy. And so I thought, oh, the solution is pharmaceutical drugs.
Right.
And that's what we're told.
Yeah, that's what we're told. And how easy was that for you to obtain?
Oh, very easy. I mean, psychiatrists are happy to write scripts, you know, and so I was happy to take them because I was desperate. I was willing to try anything to fill that like empty space in me, that deep-seated unhappiness that I was going through, you know. It was always like just feeding that, like, wow. And then on top of that, I was drinking, and the drinking got worse and worse over time. And then, you know, I had some exposure when I was skiing to opiates, to painkillers, and didn't become addicted at that point. It was later on, like, just feeling like what opiates gave you, that sense of peace and all that, but oof, a dangerous hole to go down, and I did. And so I was taking all of those pharmaceutical drugs and painkillers and drinking.
Wow. Wow.
And somehow I still managed to show up at the office and seem like everything was cool. Everything was great on the outside.
Yeah.
Where inside I was just beyond gone. I was a mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Complete mess.
Yeah. And would you say that you were more isolated at that time too?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially near the end of that. I would isolate a lot.
Yeah.
Just hang out and drink, or, you know, taking pain meds.
Yeah.
Watching movies or whatever to distract me from that emptiness and sadness inside. You know?
Yeah. So what would you say your belief system was at that time when you were in corporate America and you were taking all these, you know, all these different drugs and medications to keep going in the world and to keep moving, and I've got to, you know, what would you say your belief system was at that time? Like, what did you...
It was, the belief system was so warped. It was a money machine. It was the money machine. Like, okay, well, I know I'm not that happy inside, but I don't really. I'm gonna just put a bunch of Band-Aids on top, and I'm just gonna keep making money, and then I'll buy a nicer place to live, buy a nicer car, buy a nicer audio visual system, all these things. Just like, okay, and it'll make me happy for a while.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, okay, that happiness is gone. Oh, okay, the next thing. Okay, I'll just get even a nicer place.
Yeah, the disease of more. Sometimes
and nicer
people call that.
Yeah, the disease of more.
Sometimes people call it the disease of more. Yeah.
More.
It doesn't matter what it is.
I see it everywhere so much now in the world. Like, when is enough?
Yeah.
I didn't think there was enough. Everything got warped because it's all in the programming, all the marketing, everything we see around us is feeding us like the consumer mindset.
Yeah.
And it's wild.
Yeah. Unbeknownst to ourselves, and we don't even know it's happening a lot of the times of what we're being, when we're allowing the world to program us,
well said. Yes.
Then this is kind of, how we become. I've also had my journey with addiction and recovery and, forcing myself to be successful or be something that everyone else wants me to be. But then it comes to a point, right? It comes to a head, right? Because our bodies can only sustain so much. Our hearts and our minds and our souls can only sustain so much, what's humanly possible. And it sounds to me like the life you were living was not humanly possible. So, you have to take drugs, you have to do these things to, keep going. So what was the catalyst? What was the triggering point, the point in your life where you said, I've had enough, or, this has got to stop? Or was there something that happened in your life that made you come to this realization?
It snuck up on me, just like the addiction. It was all taking all those drugs and drinking. Like, that just snuck up on me. And, if you don't catch it before, I ended up hitting rock bottom. The proverbial rock bottom, and that everything fell away. Like, in a matter of a week, I lost my job, lost my home, I lost my partner, I lost most of my money, but pretty much lost all my money within the next year. So I lost all of that really quick. And it was hard to deal with at the time because I didn't know what happened. And then I just came to a point where I was just, it's like, wow, that all just happened. And then there I am feeling suicidal. Like, not beyond suicidal, I was thinking of ways that I could kill myself, And
it pushes you to that point.
It pushes you to that point, yeah. And
it's more common than you think.
It's way more common than you think.
A lot of people struggle with suicide, and a lot of people have struggled with that, more so now than ever. And appreciate you sharing. To give hope.
I find it like, I feel it necessary for me to share that. Because, many people have been there. And I had a best friend that I lost to suicide, like the closest I had to a brother. This was after my awakening, but thank God it happened then. But or there could have been two suicides, So, it was a tough spot, and it was in that the lowest of lows where I heard that still small voice. Like, it was there all along. And I couldn't hear it. But when I was at the lows, I heard it. I heard it. And it was telling me not to give up. This is not my time. So I got a glimpse of that. And I wanted to hear more. Because it was either this way or that way, you know. There was no in between anymore.
Yeah.
It was full tilt, tune into that voice, or full tilt, end it all. And for me, there was no in between anymore. And so that shift happened. And I was like just curious, like how can I tune into that voice, hear it more?
Yes.
And that voice told me meditation. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It both happened at once. I should clarify, like that voice and going to rehab for the second time. The first time I went to rehab for the opiates, I got over that, but I just replaced it with more drinking. So this time was a whole different story because I heard that still small voice saying meditate. So like I started meditating. It was hard at first, so hard. Like I had done it throughout my career, ski jumping and stuff, but nothing like I do now, and I did, that I started doing. Like I said, no matter what, I'm doing it daily. I'm going to meditate on a daily basis, no matter how hard. And so what if it's hard? Like just take a minute or even 30 seconds. If I just sit there and make sure that I meditate, I've done it for a day, you know. So
it's progress, you know?
I started
always
that
moving
simultaneously. Yeah, it's progress. Yeah, simultaneously. I started when I started rehab. And I think that's the shift or how it showed up for me. It has to happen within. So I think because I know I went to rehab before and I didn't meditate. I didn't do any of that. And this time it was more for me about meditation and then learning everything I could learn, group therapy and working with all the psychiatrists and psychotherapists so it was in conjunction with meditation and working with everyone in rehab and utilizing all the tools available to me.
Yeah, wonderful.
And that was through meditation really helping me to be okay with sitting with myself and be okay with everyone sharing their knowledge with me, you know, and going through that process of healing.
You're a miracle. I mean, sitting here today, you're a walking miracle. And we're so grateful that you're able to share your vulnerability, making this connection with people on such a raw, real, authentic level is the most meaningful and powerful part of your story. And it I mean, I'm in tears. It's incredible that you're here.
It is incredible.
It's incredible that you're here. And that you heard the meditation. You heard meditation, the still, quiet voice. That was the still, quiet voice in the meditation. So what would you say are the gifts that you've been given since you've heard that still, quiet voice and you've been able to meditate?
The biggest gift from hearing that still small voice was continuing my meditation in conjunction with other things, but continuing meditation, you know, like I said, I'll just do it, make it a daily thing, no matter what, make it a daily thing. My life depended on it.
Yeah.
It depended on it.
Yeah.
Like, it was that point. There was nothing. Everything fell away from me. All friends, everything just was gone. So tuning into that, I tuned into my inner light, my God presence, creator source, whatever you want to call it. Tuning into that, and everyone has it. That's the coolest thing. So it was tuning into that and really listening and taking it deeper, because I just started off with with guided meditations because it was too hard for me to sit there. So I do guided for a while, but it didn't take long, probably a month before I was doing unguided, and not even long after that where I was going an hour or even 2 hours every day. Like I said, my life depended on it.
Right.
So, and I was fortunate enough to be open and tuned in that still small voice to go back to my spiritual center of Agape, where I'd gone throughout the years, starting in 2008 after I saw The Secret, and Michael Beckwith is on it, and he's the founder of Agape, and wow, I still get emotional because it's like the first time I went there, it was the first time I really felt at home in Los Angeles, because I never felt right living in Los Angeles. But going back to Agape, discovering they had classes that I could start taking as well.
Can you tell us about Agape? What is Agape?
Agape is an international spiritual center. It's new thought, ageless wisdom. So it kind of takes the best, or of all religions in the world, because it's more of a focus on how we are all spiritual beings having a human experience, and tapping into that wisdom. So going there just expanded my spiritual awakening so much.
Wow.
Like, coupled with meditation, and that expanded everything so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you've taken classes there. They have spiritual practitioner.
Yeah, they have a
trajectory to
spiritual
become
practitioner track. Very immersive. You do a lot of spiritual growth work or play work with it, and so it went hand in hand with I was still going to rehab and meditating daily, taking deeper every day, and taking classes, and the combination of all three of those things opened me up spiritually, like got me back on the path. Like I told you earlier, when I was ski jumping, there was always that source, that presence with me. I just wasn't aware of it then. Now I became more and more aware of it, and I would hear Michael talk about how we have a God presence within us, and until I had a direct experience, that changed everything. And that was the true start of healing, like seeing who I truly am as a cosmic being, a spiritual being, having a human experience, like that I am infinite, eternal, never born, never die. That's the biggest gift, that knowing that this body is a gift to navigate this world and use our five senses, but it's not who we are. It's our vehicle. Who we are is light.
That's huge.
Light.
That's huge, yeah.
Connected to all light. Every living thing in the light. Light tethered to all light. And having a direct experience with that and continuing the growth work opened everything up. And that took away all fear, all the doubt, all the worry. I didn't even know at what point I stopped taking those medications. I have a rough idea, but they just kind of fell away. Like, I just stopped taking all the pharmaceuticals because, I stopped drinking and all that at rehab. But it was through this whole journey, spiritual journey, that I tapped into the light, and all of a sudden, like, once that fear was gone, the anxiety is gone. And I don't even know when I stopped taking the medicine, but I did. It was like, wow, true spiritual healing took place.
Natural process for you. It sounds like it was more of a intuitive, you innately and intuitively knew that's what you needed to do to get clear, to have that clear channel to be able to open to the spirit and divine. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a gift.
So a day in the life of Hoot, 20 years ago, with all these shows that you were working on, I know you were on Nip Tuck for a while.
Nip Tuck and Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
Yeah.
Beautiful show. I love what it did for people, and then a whole bunch near the end there.
How do you balance your time now? What would you say you spend most of your time on now?
On co-creating this, sharing awakenings. Because when I had the awakening, I felt a deep down need to share my experience and other people's experiences of awakenings, and hoping someone's voice will resonate with other people and help them through an awakening experience, because it can be scary when everything falls away from you at the start. Everything, the world as you know it, just drops and it's gone. And you're like, whoa, what do I do? Luckily, I had Agape. But there's so many people that are awake and tapped in and tuned in. And I feel like by sharing other people's awakenings and their stories, like it'll resonate with people. And that's the hope, just to spread the word and the love.
I love that.
And
I
the
love
joy.
that. Oh my gosh, that's so inspirational. And we need this now more than ever. Yes.
You're the host of it.
Well, we need it now more than ever, to bring a sense of community and to invite people and give them an opportunity to share their stories. Share.
It's all in the sharing.
Yes. This old
keeps
paradigm and the old way of living, there are so many stories, that people are eager to share, and how they've been enlightened and how they've overcome, or how they're beginning to change in the world. We're no longer living the old ways that we used to live, because that's not living. It's that we're in the trance. We were in the trance.
In the trance, yes.
But we're waking up. And it sounds like you've had such an incredible awakening, and what a miracle and gift you are. We're just so grateful for you. So grateful. So what would you say is your biggest takeaway that you'd want our listeners to hear? What would be the biggest takeaway for people that you want people to know?
The biggest takeaway I'd love people to know is to tune into that still small voice. It's this world of appearances and effects. It's all it is.
Yeah.
What's really going on is within. Tapping into that, tuning into that, seeing how you're connected to everyone and everything. There's only love and peace and joy, harmonizing good, abundance. It's all there. It's all within. I'm not saying easy. Like, this human experience has its challenges. I still face it daily. You still face it daily. We all do. But now it's to stop. So if I'm feeling heavy, if I'm feeling challenged by this external world, I use that acronym for HELP, which is Hello, Eternal Loving Presence.
I love that. I love that.
Just close my eyes, I'll say that, tune back into who I am.
Hello, eternal loving presence.
Yeah, I love it so much. And that's for anybody can do. Just close your eyes, take a deep breath, say hello, eternal loving presence, and just feel the peace and the light and the love and the joy just wash over you. It reminds you of who you truly are. Yeah, I love sharing that.
and asking for help. Sometimes we don't want to ask for help. We're so set in our ways. Are there other, spiritual modalities or things that you do that you'd like to share that might be helpful for people? So HELP is such a great acronym. I know for me in recovery, HALT was one of them: hungry, angry, lonely, tired. When we're feeling kind of some of those symptoms, you know,
Yeah.
we need to stop. I stop and pause and, you know, take a moment to just check in with Kristen, you know.
That's a great one to share.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you have anything that you want to, any other spiritual modalities or healing modalities, tips, tricks, anything else that you want to share that
Any
work
healing
well for you?
modalities? Well, I say for anyone to start that meditation practice, tune into your light. Help is a beautiful one. Always great to ask for help. And affirmative prayer, stating things as if they're already done, what you want to happen in this world, like what you want the world you want to live into, to see, to be. Yeah, it's
As if already happening. It's already
happened.
already here, already happening. You're putting that out to the universe.
Putting it out to the universe. Yeah, it's in the feeling tones. It's in the feeling tones of the prayer, affirming that there's only joy here, there's only love here. And just by closing your eyes and feeling into that, learn like this prayer mudra. I think Greg Braden shared it, but he was sharing it like with a Native American that took him up for a prayer for rain, which is a really cool story. You should check it out. But this prayer mudra, your thumbs tap your heart chakra, and to feel into the feeling tones. If it's rain you need, you feel the rain dropping on your head, the smell of it, the dew, the sound. Go through all the five senses. So it's the love you need. Just feel the love all around. A warm embrace. It's all here, right now, right here, right now. If it's peace you want, just tap into that and get into those feeling tones as if it's happening right now. It's already happening, and just watch what opens up.
So in other words, we're not praying for what we don't want, right?
Right.
We're not, I don't want this, I don't want that, because that's kind of lack and limitation, and putting that out is an actual prayer. Sometimes they say that's your prayers.
Yeah.
And
That's your prayer.
that's what she'll get.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I know that you've got a trip coming up to Mount Shasta and
Yes.
exciting adventures of your spiritual growth and healing, and we're looking forward to seeing some videos from Mount Shasta.
Yes.
Very soon.
Excited to share.
Yes. But we want to thank you so much for being here today. Is there anything else you wanted to share before we close today? Is there anything else?
No, I'm sure there's many more things to share coming up, and excited to hear other people's stories as well.
Hoot Maynard, you are just such a gift, and
Thank you.
such a light soul.
As are you.
A luminous soul, and we are so grateful.
Connected.
We are all connected, and I am hoping that we can reach some people, through your story. I know we will. May you have peace and light and love in your journey, and we look forward to more of your sharing.
Thank you
for being
infinite
here.
light, love, and blessings to you as well.
Thanks for tuning in. We're so grateful that you're here. Help support us on our mission of sharing awakenings by subscribing to our channel, just hitting the like button below. We are so infinitely grateful for everyone showing up today, and look forward to seeing you more in the future.